New video shows a glimpse of what life was like for WNBA star Brittney Griner inside Russian prison. She spent her days carrying fabric because she was too tall to sit at the sewing tables where other prisoners worked. Her bed was too small for her 6'9" frame. Griner was arrested back in February for traveling with hashish oil, a substance banned in Russia. She was sentenced to 9 years in prison in August. Her release part of a prisoner swap for Victor Boot, a convicted.
After serving time in a Russian men's prison, Brittney Griner is now under fire again, this time for allegedly assaulting Caitlin Clark. But this isn't just a sports incident, it's a national controversy. America's sweetheart, Caitlin Clark, was elbowed live on TV by one of the WNBA's most polarizing figures. What happened next will leave you stunned. At the center of it all, identity, controversy, and the truth we're about to uncover.
But apparently, Brittney Griner is, in fact.
Doctors are now stepping in, and what they are revealing about Griner's medical background has sent shockwaves through the entire league. From bone structure to speech patterns, the details are raising serious questions that can no longer be ignored.
To be back on court in a real game and everything.
Leaked Instagram videos and AI scans that were never meant to surface have thrown everything into chaos. Now, Brittney Griner is in full panic mode, because this could become the biggest scandal in women's sports history. Stay tuned, because what we're uncovering may shatter everything you thought you knew about the WNBA. Is Brittney Griner really who she claims to be? And did the WNBA know and cover it up? Trust me, this goes far beyond basketball. It all started during the intense Fever versus Mercury matchup, a game that went from physical to deeply personal in an instant.
Caitlin Clark did not back down when the Atlanta Dream got chippy with her. Especially Ryan Howard was trying to get on Caitlin her nerves, but she kept cooking her. And they were face guarding her the entire game like she was prime Steph Curry.
There's a lot of bumping and like that. There's some words between the two players as Nas Hilton quickly.
And at the end of this altercation, you can clearly see Caitlin Clark say, "I'm not scared of you." And Howard continued to be provocative. And after Caitlin drew this offensive foul on Brittney Griner, it looked like she was pretty annoyed with her.
Brittney moved.
And here she gets clearly fouled, and again they were chirping at her afterwards.
Shooting 31, they came in the season. Ryan Howard, Caitlin Clark finding a way to...
And here Brittney Griner picked up her 6th foul and had to sit for the rest of the game. You could clearly see what she was saying.
Brittney Griner isn't just playing the villain. This time, the tension was so thick, you could feel it through your screen. When Caitlin Clark stumbled but kept playing, the moment might have passed if social media hadn't caught it. Griner didn't just bump her, she threw an elbow. And lip readers confirmed what fans feared. This wasn't just trash talk that I end basketball. Banter is expected. But this? It crossed a line into something darker, something racial, something dangerous. The WNBA stayed silent. No warning, no fine, no statement. And yet, millions watched as Griner appeared to mouth trash, targeting the league's rising white star. Right there on national television, fans weren't about to let it slide. The elbow was just the beginning. What came next stretched far beyond the court, sparking questions the league wasn't prepared to answer.
Inclination is to say that this person is not a female. Firstly, because this was actually posted to Brittney's personal Instagram.
This is where it starts to feel less like a basketball story and more like the opening scene of a Netflix documentary. Suddenly, sports medicine experts began chiming in. But they weren't analyzing Brittney Griner stats or playmaking. No, they were dissecting her biology. Doctors, therapists, even AI analysts started scrutinizing her physical traits, shoulder width, bone structure, recovery speed. One expert even made a chilling remark. That's not typical for a female athlete, especially not at this level. What began as a foul on the court was quickly evolving into something far more explosive and far more personal.
As far as I understand, it's mostly women without penises, but I leave that to you to figure it. Well, it's actually a little unclear because this Brittney Griner, a lot of people think she's a dude. But in any event, Brittney Griner is a black basketball player who some people think is a man. I don't know. I guess she's a woman. Let's just say she's a woman. Here's a chick, a black chick. Brittney Griner is a fine player, I suppose.
This wasn't hate. It wasn't trolling. These were professionals raising red flags about something long overlooked, or maybe even deliberately hidden. That's when the public started asking hard questions. Had the WNBA ever truly vetted Brittney Griner's eligibility? Were the concerns from doctors valid? And if so, why was the league staying silent? Let's talk receipts, because in today's world, everything leaves a digital footprint. That's when an old Instagram story featuring Griner resurfaced. The post wasn't new, but the context was. Griner appeared topless, no surgical scars, no filters, no edits. Just there, visible to everyone, and perhaps most shocking, Instagram didn't remove it. No action, no warning. The image stayed up, fueling even more speculation and outrage. Asterisk.
Brittney, let me see something real quick. Britt, thank you. Get the hell out of here, yo. Jab stepping, it's the brick. Swing and a miss.
Oh!
Yo, I ain't gonna fake it right now.
Swag is down.
Here's where things get even stranger. Instagram's AI filters are notoriously sharp when it comes to detecting nudity, especially female nudity. If you know anything about how the platform works, you know it doesn't miss much, and yet, that image of Griner stayed up. Not for a few hours, not even days. It remained active for over 2 years. No takedown, no flag, nothing. That fact alone raised even more eyebrows about what was really going on.
Talk about it, guys. Again, allegedly, it could be any number of things, but my first inclination is to say that this person is not a female. Firstly, because this was actually posted to Brittney's personal Instagram. And when it comes to Instagram, they use a combination of like AI detection and plus manual surveyors, but specifically the AI detection to make sure that no explicit content ends up on the platform. So clearly whatever AI detection system was used when Brittney posted this and it stayed up for 106 weeks was not like, oh, this is a bare female chest, we have to take this down. It obviously assumed that Brittney was male and therefore being topless on the platform was totally fine. It did not constitute as.
So what does that mean? Either the algorithm was flawed, or it didn't recognize female anatomy at all. Think about it. The AI system of a billion-dollar corporation failed to identify Brittney Griner as female. That alone says something. Sure, AI can make mistakes. But ask yourself this. Would you trust a silent sports league over cold, unbiased tech? Because here's the truth. What's worse than a scandal is a cover-up. And that's exactly what this is starting to feel like. The WNBA hasn't made a statement, hasn't clarified anything, hasn't even apologized to Caitlin Clark. Now flip the script. Imagine if Caitlin had elbowed Brittney Griner and hurled a racial slur in front of millions. Would the league still be this quiet? Would the media let it slide? Exactly.
It's body, dude, like NFL linebacker style.
What? That is crazy.
Yeah. Look at this. Clock her ass, man.
Yeah, black women hate her.
Dude, I don't even see like LeBron get battered like this.
Yeah.
And he, like, somebody has bad breath and they breathe on him and he goes flying back.
Yeah. Yeah, she actually spoke out for black women. There's a black women's league.
Yeah, she's like a leftist.
She's like a cuck for black women.
Yeah,
and they beat the crap out of her.
She's like, well, that's what happens when you cuck out to people. They don't respect you.
Well, I think she did it to hope to get their respect. Yeah.
That is
not going to work.
Look at this.
You get way too much attention. You making all this money and endorsements. They're jealous of you. She's like the face of that league.
Yeah, and she's the only person like really putting butts in the seats.
It's becoming clear that the league is more focused on protecting its image than addressing serious concerns, even if that means letting a player like Caitlin Clark take the fall. And the silence, it's not just strange anymore. It's suspicious. Would you keep watching a league that turns a blind eye to this? Let's go back to the doctors. Their analysis wasn't done in a lab. It was based on years of real-world experience and observation. They assessed skeletal structure, muscle composition, recovery patterns, and even vocal characteristics. And across the board, the findings pointed to one thing. This doesn't align with what we typically see in elite female athletes. Even Brittney Griner's injury history raised eyebrows. Her ability to recover mirrors that of an NFL linebacker, while most WNBA players need significantly more time to heal from similar physical stress. That's why medical professionals are now calling for comprehensive biological verification, chromosomal testing, hormone analysis, and bone density scans. Not to shame anyone, but to protect the integrity of women's sports. Because equity matters. Fairness matters.
Weird case. He's a man, yes, that much is obvious, but not in the way that you think. He isn't trans. He's a straight cis male who was raised as a girl and given a girl's name by his parents. His mother is the insane one. She forced him to live as a female right up through high school, filled out all of his paperwork, including BC as female, and kept the charade going. He played on girls' sports teams because his papers said he was a girl. He had to keep pretending in college, stay in women's teams, and now he just has to keep barely pretending to stay in the WNBA. But in all other ways, he lives life as a man. He wears men's clothes, dates and married a woman, has masculine features, and takes masculine roles. If not for his mother's insanity, he would be a mediocre male player in the NBA. And honestly, that may even be a little bit generous.
This goes far beyond bones and bruises. At its core, the question is simple. Shouldn't all athletes compete on an even playing field? Now, mental health experts are stepping in, and what they are seeing is deeply troubling. That elbow, that slur. Some say it's about more than aggression. It's about identity stress, the psychological toll of living a double life, hiding something major. And when that pressure builds, it erupts. Unfortunately, Caitlin Clark became the target of that explosion. Now imagine being Caitlin, a rookie phenom, the new face of the WNBA, carrying the league's momentum, and then publicly attacked by a veteran star, live on national television. What message does that send to other young women in the sport? What kind of culture is the WNBA protecting if this is what it chooses to defend? And here's where it gets serious. If the medical concerns are real, if Brittney Griner's biology doesn't align with the standards of women's sports, this isn't just a controversy. It could be classified as fraud. Think about it. What if someone lost their Olympic spot or college scholarship to a competitor who shouldn't have been eligible in the first place? That's not just unfair. It's career-ending for some. Legal experts are already weighing in, warning that this could trigger a wave of lawsuits. And if it turns out the WNBA knew and stayed silent, that opens the door to an entirely different legal and ethical storm.
For him, because all of his success depends on him maintaining the lie he's lived with for his whole life. Of course, Russia gives zero shits and will treat him as the male he is. Maybe it'll be a refreshing change from him. And this is with, of course, reference to the fact that there was some speculation that Brittney Griner was actually...
It's not just the WNBA watching. Other major sports organizations are paying close attention. From international soccer bodies to Olympic committees and swimming federations, everyone is monitoring this story in real time, because if the WNBA becomes entangled in a scandal of this magnitude, the ripple effect could hit every corner of women's sports. Questions are already being raised. What does eligibility truly mean? How is fairness defined and enforced? And most importantly, how can fans trust a league that appears to look the other way? If this situation is ignored, it sends a dangerous message. Image matters more than integrity. And that could set a precedent with massive consequences. Could this change how women's sports are governed altogether? It just might. The WNBA has spent years fighting for relevance, growing a fan base, smashing attendance records, and finally proving the product is worth watching. But just when things were turning around, this drops. A top player, Brittney Griner, may have been hiding biological advantages all along. And when she was caught elbowing the league's most promising new star, Caitlin Clark, the league said nothing. This isn't just a bad look, it's an outright disaster, one that could unravel the very foundation of women's sports as we know it.
Because let me tell you something right now, I'm not going to go to word hate. I'm not going to be out there like RG3 was saying that Angel Reese hates Caitlin Clark or other players hate Caitlin Clark. But I will say this, I don't think it's specific. about Caitlin Clark. I think it's what Caitlin Clark represents. See, it's no fault of Caitlin Clark. Caitlin Clark balled. She balled at Iowa in college. She's balled since she's been in the NBA. She came into the league last year with no break whatsoever between the college game and the pro game and did her thing. Ended up as an all-star, ended up being 4th in the league in MVP voting, was the clear winner for Rookie of the Year. No competition whatsoever in that regard when it was really all said and done. We know what she brings to the table. But people wanted to hate because why? You had a bunch of players in this league that watched this young white girl come along and take the league by storm. And they resented it because they saw the marketing prowess that she had. They ignored the fact that you got chartered flights because of this girl. They ignored the fact that ratings were going through the roof because of this girl. Instead, they resented it because they said, yo, we were doing stuff long before Caitlin Clark got here, and y'all wasn't paying attention then. But now, the young white girl comes along, and y'all want to sit up there and shower all of this praise and all of this attention that was earned before she ever came along. The resentment is understandable, but it's not about Caitlin Clark. It's about what...
This isn't just a scandal. It's a ticking time bomb that could destroy everything the WNBA has worked so hard to build. If this is handled poorly, one controversy could erase years of progress. All that momentum. Gone. And for what? Let's be real. This story is far from over. We've seen the elbow. We've heard the slur. The Instagram video is making the rounds. Medical experts are speaking out. The AI evidence is jaw-dropping. And Brittney Griner, silent. Not a word. Not a tweet that she's either lawyering up behind the scenes or hoping this all just fades away. But here's the truth. People care. Fans are outraged. Players are whispering behind closed doors. Sponsors are starting to ask questions. And make no mistake, the entire future of women's sports could be riding on how this is handled. So the question is, will the WNBA finally break its silence, launch a real investigation, and do what's right? Or will they double down and hope the public forgets? If you believe in fairness, in truth, and in protecting women's sports, hit that like button, drop your thoughts in the comments, and don't forget to subscribe. Because this story, it's way bigger than basketball and we're just getting started.